and welcome to the Marketplace Coaxum Report. I am super excited to be joined today by LaShawn Roundtree, who's really going to come and talk to us a little bit about retravel. LaShawn, welcome to the Coaxum Report. How are you?
Thank you. I am fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So for those of you that are just listening in with us, you can join us on Roku, you can join us on Amazon, you can join us on Fire TV, and also you can join us on Apple TV. And I'm super excited. LaShawn, I'm not sure if you know, but this broadcast is around the world. And so don't be surprised if you get a call from someone you know in the continent or over in the Caribbean saying, I saw you in a Coaxum Report.
Oh, that'll be wonderful.
And then this is also being simultaneously broadcast on WSTX Bloomberg, and they'll rebroadcast it on Tempo. So all of our partners shouting you out. Thank you so much for being on the show. So LaShawn, tell me a little bit about who you are. How'd you get to We Travel LLC? I'm excited. Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's been a long journey, but so we recently started. My husband and I both started the business. We've been in the travel industry for over 20 years.
Wow. Okay.
But I am a mom of three. And
Okay,
so
got
now
it.
my kids they're adults and they're doing great. So now that they're settled, I assisted with helping with I was a caregiver for my father. He recently passed away.
My goodness.
And my mother is still with us. So I have the opportunity now to make it official and make this our business. And so we have been having a wonderful time in this industry. It's just been a long time coming.
And travel is travel. You know, I have an amazing experience each time I'm travel. If I'm traveling for work, I make it an amazing experience.
Mhm.
And if I'm traveling for pleasure, then you already know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm super excited. So now, what you do before you started your travel business? I know
So
you're a mom, so that's full time. You don't ever get time off from being mom. And I want to commend you also. Let me pause and commend you for being a caregiver. I mean, it's really hard, especially when it's a parent and you've seen your parent all your life, right? And then to see them
Mhm.
in a vulnerable state, it really is taxing on your heart and on your mind. And so I'm just going to commend you right now because
Thank
I
you.
know a bit about how that feels for my own history with my dad and with my grandfather and grandmother. And so I want to thank you so much for giving so much. I mean, I had a relative tell me a long time ago something that I didn't believe until I got older. He said, one mother can take care of 10 children, but 10 children will not take care
That's
of one mother. And I didn't know what that meant until I knew what it meant. Usually it's just one or two children that'll say, all right,
yeah.
here I am, or dad, here I am. And so for you to be that child, I just want to say thank you for that. And it means a whole lot to me and to all of us, because we do scribe to get older. We do want to be in a place where we can teach a little something to our children and grandchildren and maybe even our great grandchildren. So thank you for that. So
Thank
talk to me. How did we get to We Travel? And what about the name?
you. Okay. I have to credit my husband for that name. We
Okay.
travel. We just wanted something different, something short, to the point where people could remember it. This is what we're about. Let's
Mhm.
travel. Let's have fun. Let's go.
So
Life
now,
is
do you
short.
travel often? Do you get a chance to really get out there and
Oh
travel?
yeah, yeah.
That's the fun part.
That's right. That is the fun part. And we've done some amazing trips over the years with our kids and without. I can remember shortly after the pandemic,
Mhm.
um, when travel had just started opening again, and I made these crazy looking T-shirts that said, "Yes, family vacations are essential. It's necessary." And we wore those T-shirts, and we had a ball. My poor family, they were so sweet to wear the T-shirts just long enough to take a picture, but we had a good time.
That's funny because when my two children are 6 years apart, and so when my youngest one was turning 21, my oldest one was turning 26, weeks, right? So they're 5 years and 2 weeks to be exact. And we went on a cruise, and I put this T-shirt on them saying, "I love it when we cruising together." They were like,
Yeah. It's so travel is so important. It so really is. A lot of people kind of put that on the back burner.
"They do.
But we work hard. We work
That's right.
hard,
It's
especially
way
in the
harder."
Black community. We need to celebrate that hard work and rejuvenate ourselves. So to me, travel is just as important as going to work every day.
That's right. So how do we get here to we travel? What were you doing before that?
So before that, um, I was a stay-at-home mom, and my husband worked very hard to take care of us, and we took care of him.
That's right.
Um, so I worked. I had jobs where I could work from home during the summer months when my kids were home, but I really put all my focus into raising my kids.
Oh,
And
nice.
so once I realized that my kids were good, now there was nothing else I could do. The decision is now all up to them what they do. That's when I turned my focus to something that I loved. And I have loved travel since I can remember. Out of high school, I just knew I would be a stewardess or something like that, but that didn't work out. So I was kind of the family travel agent as the family grew. So we just, decided to make it official at this point, and my husband came up with that crafty little name, We Travel. So
Nice, 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 nice. So tell me about some of the barriers to the travel industry. I mean, you kind of indicated a little bit of it when you said after we came out of the pandemic, because as we know, everything stopped, right? And so we weren't able to travel, and that whole industry, the whole hospitality industry, really took a blow, right? I mean, everybody did, but especially the hospitality industry, because it's no longer business as usual in that industry. As you know, there's so many more precautions that you must take when you're going to a hotel or on a plane. There's so many more things that you needed to do right out of the pandemic, and still now, which is now very much a part of our lives. So tell me a little bit about some of the barriers that you and your husband had to face travel starting We Travel, and then we'll talk about some of the best practices and big ideas, because I love to leave with our listening audience, what you and your husband were able to do to get past the hurdles, and more importantly, to give them some nuggets and some inspiration so they can do it as well.
and that's funny you should ask that, because to me it was not barriers. It
Mm,
was just, now let's be creative and
mm,
find another way to do it.
okay.
Um, Travel, while it took a hit, I think it just made us be a little bit more creative in things that we do. Yeah, ways that we
Talk to me about
travel.
those ways. Talk to me about those ways that you were more creative in that area.
So, so thinking about local travel, we live in North Carolina. There are
Mhm.
so many things we discovered about North Carolina that we hadn't thought about because we were busy traveling everywhere else.
Okay.
You don't necessarily have to get on a plane. If you can't get on a plane, don't get on the plane. But
Right.
you can drive, you can get on, or Amtrak. There's many other ways to do it, in other words.
That's
Um, Even traveling with your family. During the pandemic, we couldn't socialize the way we used to, but you
mhm.
could be with your family. And so there was a way to do that as well. Just thinking outside of the box. If you didn't necessarily like to travel with a mask, but if you had to do it just for an hour to get to a beach, that's okay.
Okay.
So it's just thinking outside of the box and using different methods of still getting, to see different places. And I saw beautiful waterfalls in North Carolina. Who knew? Right
Mhm,
in my backyard.
mhm.
So it was just, like I said, just thinking of different ways and methods of travel. It doesn't always mean you have to go across the country. You can
Right.
travel right in your own city, in your backyard, and see many beautiful things.
It's interesting that you would say that. I had the honor and the pleasure to work for both the Obama administration and SBA, covering New York, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. And Big shout out to my producer, Anthony, who is U.S. Virgin Islands by way of New York, but I like to say New York by way of U.S. Virgin Islands.
Right.
Right. But I also worked for Chuck Schumer for 6.5 years as a deputy state director. So I had an opportunity to travel the 62 counties of New York. Right.
Mhm.
So when people think about New York, they're thinking Times Square, they're thinking the five boroughs. They may think of the Hudson Valley. Usually they don't. They may think of Long Island. Usually they don't. But there's so many things to do in the Hudson Valley. It's beautiful in the
Mhm.
Adirondacks. It's beautiful upstate New York in the Finger Lakes. It's beautiful in Buffalo and close to Niagara Falls. I mean, you don't think about windmills and acid
Right.
and you don't think about all of the yoga retreats that they have or hot air ballooning. You don't think about New York, but it is New York.
It's
It is
there. It's right there.
different experiences that you could just get in a car or get on a train, like you said, or even get on a bus and just take an opportunity to go to those places. And so when you're talking about New York, and North Carolina waterfalls, I'm like, my. So full disclosure, I started at Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte, North Carolina. Um,
Ah,
yeah, I'm from South Carolina, born and raised in South Carolina. I graduated at 16 and came to New York to go to college. But prior to that, my first job was in Raleigh, Durham, right? In one of these factories. And then from that, of course, I went to college at Johnson C. Smith where I ran track and then transferred up to New York at John Jay. But so I know a little bit about just a little
yeah. A little bit about us.
bit that's there. I remember when we traveled up to go down south, we would always start at Roanoke Rapids.
Mhm.
Because they had a great outlet that you can shop in and you can get almost anything that you can imagine. So I remember always being, anxious and very excited about stopping there on the way to South Carolina by way of 95, a whole bunch of churches.
That's right. Yeah.
So it truly is a pleasure to have you on. And so instead of thinking about barriers, LaShawn, you're saying that you really thought about opportunities. You thought about what are the different opportunities that we can take advantage of in this space and time
That's
with
it.
all of the changes and still be able to have this essential travel
Essential. That's
part
right.
as a part of our lives, right? So just as you said, just as is important as working every day or doing all the other things that are on your things to do list, then travel should be at the top of that list as well, because it not only allows you to go and experience something beautiful, it allows you to relax, relate, and
Yeah,
release.
that's it. That's it. And you need that. You need that to be at your optimal, to do your best at whatever that job is that you do. You have to have that time to just relax and regroup and
That's
be,
right.
even as a mom, when I was a stay-at-home mom, I needed that time, whether that was a day, a week, 2 days, whatever it was, I needed that time to regroup,
Right.
just get yourself together and so you can be the optimal person that you are. So
Right.
that it's very important.
It's so funny. I tell my students, I teach at Medgar Evers College as well. And so when my students are asking me about all the different things I do, I said, I work. They're like, you work hard. I said, I work hard, but I play harder.
Yes. Yes. Because you deserve it.
So it's essential that I have time to play as well as I have time to work. So you're absolutely right. And it should be on your schedule. You
Yeah.
should put it on your schedule. And that's one of the things that, the listening audience of those of you that are in the traveling business or looking to get into the traveling business and listening to see some of the nuggets that LaShawn is now breaking, really introducing us to. I really want you to understand that travel is just as essential as any of the other important things that you have on your things to do list. And it
Mhm.
also should be often. You should be traveling more than once a year. You should be experiencing life more than once a year. You shouldn't just be an automatic robot, just going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. Because as LaShawn is saying, we need to relax, relate, and release, and really take advantage of all that the world has to offer in the space that we're in at the time. So I'm glad that you had an opportunity to kind of experience North Carolina in a different way, right?
Yeah,
I keep saying
exactly.
to be a tourist in New York. It hasn't happened yet. I'm always looking for an island with a blue water and an umbrella in my glass.
Yeah, that's true. But there's it's just so many things to see in this space, this world that we live in, and we get stuck on, oh, I have to be in the Caribbean, or I have to do this cruise, and you don't. There's so many avenues, so many ways to see the world and open your horizons to see how other people live.
You
It's
know,
just
it's funny you're saying
beautiful.
that. I remember being in college and I thought this was like the far out idea. One of my colleagues, I did my second master's in a program here in New York. And I remember one of my colleagues saying, all right, I'm gonna backpack for a year or a half a year or something. I was like, are you serious? Like you're an adult. Like you're gonna go, they were like, I'm gonna backpack, I'm gonna see the world. And she came back with so many beautiful experiences. And
Mhm.
she showed all these pictures. She blogged along the way. And guess what? She was able to get paid from her blogging. I didn't know
Yeah,
that was possible either. So
how
when you
about
talk about
that?
other opportunities, you can travel on someone else's dime based on how you're showing up, right? So
Yeah.
she backpacked and she couch surfed. I would never because, I grew up in the South and I have all these reservations about things. We won't talk about them. But it was a great experience, and I lived life through her eyes because, like I said, social media is awesome. So you can experience that. Another way to travel is by way of food. Like you can be a food connoisseur, you can be a foodie, so you can travel to
Mhm.
different places that you want to travel to and experience the cuisine while you're there and share that. And
That's
folks are
right.
willing to pay you for that. So there's so many different opportunities for you to get to travel, whether it's local travel or whether you want to get on a plane and head to some space that you've never been in, you just read about, right?
That's
So
it. That's
that
it.
these
And now with the age of YouTube, you can do a lot of research to find out what it is that you want to do. A lot of times people say, "Well, I don't know where I want to go." Well, what are you interested in?
That's right.
So, for example, my oldest son loves museums. So
Mhm.
he selects where he will travel based on the museums. Which museums are there? What do they have? Do I want to see that? And so just pick what you like to do and then start your research on that, or call me, your travel agent. I'll show you how to do it.
Tag you in, right? Tag you in.
That's right.
Hard or heavy load lifting or anything. Just tag in LaShawn. She got
That's it.
to be
Don't worry, I got you.
whole travel itinerary. And you know the importance of it too. I have another sister from another Mr. Victoria Folk, and she has a travel agency. The thing I didn't understand, right? So me and one of my good friends, we decided we were gonna go to the Caribbean for our birthdays, right? And it was like some last minute stuff. And I'm looking online and the tickets were like very high. And I called Victoria and she was able to get us this huge deal at this resort. It was like a last minute deal thing. And they treated us like royalty. We had a special club room and, we showed up at the airport and we had these passes. And I'm like, wait, my travel agent can do that for me?
Yeah,
There's no fuss in it. Like you literally can turn over your itinerary to someone else and it'll put it together the way you want to show up in the space that you want to show up in, give it back
mhm,
to you and allow you to experience it through their networks, right? Because
yeah,
they are travel agents like LaShawn, and she has a network of individuals in different spaces that can actually deliver on a lot of what you want to see and be a part of. And so that's why it's important to have a travel agent, not just because you want to get a flight, an inexpensive flight, but you want an experience.
that's
And
it.
that is amazing. That's what travel is all about. Essential travel is about the experience. I don't want to go on a trip and be stressed. I
Yeah,
literally want to just show up, be led to my seat
yeah.
in a certain first part of the plane and have a meal if I like, and relax and put my feet up, right? And then arrive safely to my space and enjoy the experience and come back and not need a vacation from the vacation,
Exactly.
everything that you had to do to make that vacation possible. And so,
Yeah.
it's important and it is essential to have a travel agent. So tell me a little bit about some of the best practice. Well, first of all, I want to back up to the opportunities. So now
Mhm.
you're actually delivering on opportunities in your local space as well as other places. So you're introducing people to different experiences around North Carolina, South Carolina, around right close travel, right? So tell me about some of the ways that they can reach out to you. Is a website? Is it an app? What are some of the things that you were able to do to kind of expedite the process? Do you encourage them to have certain travel passes, global chat, or any of those things? Because I know my travel agents say, make sure you get this and that, and it
Yeah,
makes it
yeah.
a lot easier. So tell me about some of those opportunities that exist now that probably wouldn't have existed as much before in travel.
Okay. Well, we do. I do work globally,
Hmm.
not just in North Carolina and South Carolina, but global travel. And yes, with different aspects, cruising,
Hmm.
um, all inclusive, backpacking,
Yeah,
rail.
it's a
Yeah,
thing.
it's a thing. It's a thing. So yeah, I work closely with all of those. And one thing that I do with my clients is I try to get to know them. I
Yeah.
ask a lot of questions. Sometimes they're just like, "What? Why? Why does that matter?" It matters. I need to know: do you like to eat at McDonald's or do you like to eat at a five-star restaurant? Because luxury is different things to
It's in
different
the eye
people.
of the beholder.
Yes. And so I need to know you one on one. Like, tell me, do you want to stay at Red Roof Inn or do you want to stay at, I don't know, the Ritz? But I ask a lot of questions so that I can curate that trip just for you.
I love it.
It is
Curate my
customized to
trip.
that
Let's
person.
write that down. I want my travel agent to curate my trip
That's
so I
right.
can have that essential travel experience. I
Yeah.
smiled when you said Red Roof Inn because when I was in high school, my job, one of my jobs was at Red Roof Inn in Hilton Head Island.
Oh wow, how about that?
Cleaning rooms at Red Roof Inn. So of all the chains you could name, you said Red Roof Inn. So
You're
that
very familiar with that
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. I was like, wait, I used to work there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Nothing wrong with Red Roof if that's what you like. I just picked that name
absolutely.
up. But yeah,
And it's about the experience, right?
it's
It's
the
about the experience and
experience.
it's about the price tag, right? A lot of people want to go on vacation and be comfortable. Everybody want to go on vacation to be comfortable, but a lot of people are comfortable at certain price points and other
Yes.
people are comfortable at other price points. And so it's necessary to understand what your customer is looking for so you can give them what they are comfortable with so they can go on that essential vacation and have an
Exactly.
experience without worrying about if I buy this meal, will I be able to buy a meal tomorrow for me and my
Hmm.
family? They should just be able to go in and say, okay, here is what we're looking to get on this experience and not have to worry about the finances of that when they're on that trip. So now those are some of the opportunities that exist. Tell me about some of the best practices. Like what are some of the things that you've done to kind of make sure that to ensure when you're curating these experiences that your client is actually getting what they need, but more importantly, they're able to do it pretty seamlessly. What are some of the best practices in
The
industry?
best practice I have found is to communicate. I stay in touch with my client from the beginning of their trip to after their trip. When their trip is over, I want to know, how was it? What
Wow.
did you like? What didn't you like? Tell me what we should do the next time. Or do we need to correct anything that happened while you were gone? Communicating with them so that they are repeat customers and
Mm-hmm.
they can go back and tell their family, "Hey, I had a great time. You need to talk to this person."
Mm-hmm.
But I need to know because I never want a client to come back from a trip and have a horrible time, but I don't know about it.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
need to know like what happened or tell me the best part of your trip. What did you eat good? I'm a foodie. So I want to know all the good things. Like what did you eat? Where did you eat? How was it? And the whole nine. So I take notes and I keep a chart for all of my clients so that I am
So you have that special touch. You're not just a curating experience. You have a special touch. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. I'll talk a little bit more about LaShawn and her special touch when it comes to her clients. We'll be right back.
So nice, so nice. So nice, so nice. Virgin Islands nice. So nice.
Give me more. We about to blow. Give me more. Give me more. We got one life, so we not gon' waste it. Live a large life, the rich and the famous. So
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
Today we're taking a little vacation on the west end of St. Croix, visiting a seaside restaurant called the Beachside Cafe here at Sandcastles on the Beach.
The atmosphere is just wonderful.
You just feel very welcome when you're here.
Hi.
I'd like to introduce Chris and Ted, who are the owners of Beachside Cafe and also Sandcastles on the Beach. This is amazing.
Thank you.
Sandcastle on the Beach is quiet and friendly, relaxing.
I often entertain guests, and this is the one place I always try to bring people.
Tell us a little bit about the hotel.
Well, the hotel is a 25-room hotel. We have 10 different room types within that. We also have, of course, our greatest asset, the ocean out there, which our side of the island is very calm typically. So it's the best swimming beach and also great for snorkeling.
And just walking and doing a nice walking beach tour.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Best beach access is right here, so we love them.
And we're also fortunate we have just up the way Sandy Point National Park, and then Frederickstead Town is just a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're really fortunate to be in this perfect spot.
Time. It has a different meaning in the U.S. Virgin Islands. It goes backwards, forwards, it stops. St. Croix is rooted in history. So much of it still remains untouched.
I remember running on these streets as a kid. This shop was right down there. It opened the same year I was born. This is where the original Crucian hook was born. It's the symbol of these islands. And I wanted to have my hands in that very same history. I want to be able to pass it down to my family while still putting a new spin on it.
The U.S. Virgin Islands, we have an amazing culture that developed over time from all over the world.
St. John feels so untouched. Being underwater is like another world. There's no worries, there's no stress. I can just escape. This is my happy place. My passion for scuba diving came at just being fascinated with the water and wanting to be
the Coaxum Report. So this is Terry Coaxum, and I am really overjoyed to be having a real conversation with LaShawn Roundtree of Retravel LLC. LaShawn has been giving us a lot of great nuggets. So she talked about her travel experience and a lot of the opportunities that open up. And one of the things that LaShawn told us is that it wasn't about the barriers; it was more about the opportunities that that happened as a result of COVID and all the great experiences and places that she was allowed to introduce her clients to that wouldn't traditionally think about them until there was restrictions on air travel. And so she talked about a lot of those things, and she talked to us about being able to make travel essential and putting things in her hands so she could curate the trip for you and make sure that you're having the best travel experience, a worry-free travel experience wherever you choose to go to in this world. And then we were talking about a little more of the best practices, and we took a little break, and now we're back. I'm super excited to dive right back in for you to tell us a little bit more about some of those best practices that you're able to share and have your clients experience.
Sure. And something I was thinking about too is a misconception that a lot of people have when it comes to using a travel agent. They feel like it's just going to be too expensive. That is furthest from the truth. Using a travel agent is the best thing you could do for the value for your money. Because as a travel agent, we have many resources that we can use. You can see quite a bit online nowadays to book your own trips, but a travel agent has a lot of resources to assist you with your trip. And it does not cost you anything extra to use a travel agent, especially, if you want something that you don't have the time to do.
But also not just it doesn't cost you extra, it saves you money and time.
Exactly.
One of the things about travel, you're really looking for an experience, right? And you are already doing it. You already have the network open to you. And I told you when I was traveling with Victoria, all I said was we want this last minute trip in this space, and she had the network similar to what you have here that she could actually tap into those resources and save me a ton of time. She saved me money, energy, and my experience was phenomenal. So, I'm here to say to anyone that is looking to travel, I encourage you to find a travel agent. I encourage you, if you want to save money, find a travel agent. If you want to save time, which is what you can't get back, you can get your money back. You can't get your time back, right? So if you want to save on something that's even more valuable than your time, which is even more valuable than your money, which is your time, then get a travel agent.
That's true. And I've noticed too that especially in the Black community, there's a little void for premium travel. And it's not because they can't do it, it's just they don't know how. And so my focus is really on helping people, like I said, to celebrate their hard work. We work hard during the week. We need to celebrate and reward ourselves for the hard work that we do. Absolutely. And so that's my focus, is to try to help people to travel and see that it does not always have to cost an arm and a leg, unless you want it to. But you can travel and enjoy the time that you have with your family or alone. So
I think it's really important that you are here in this space to be able to encourage more of us to really understand that travel is essential, right? One of the other things that is, I'm sure, one of your best practices now, because a lot of us, we book a travel agent, we get a travel agent to book our business trips as well, especially if we're leaving the country, we're going to the continent, or we go into Britain or Italy or one of those places, and we know we need to have certain things. We need to have access to Wi-Fi. We need to have a conference room or space to be able to do a meeting in, right? We need to be able to have low noise or maybe no interaction with a whole bunch of children if we're doing certain business trips, right? And that's what a travel agent is for. You get a travel agent, you explain to them your itinerary, and LaShawn would be able to curate your trip for you and save you a lot of energy and time. You don't want to show up at your hotel and it's the best hotel in the space, but then they have no access to Wi-Fi because they believe in every travel there is a vacation and don't understand the importance of travel can be both a vacation and business. So you can mix the two. Having a travel agent will be able to fill that void for you and help you get that experience you need in the space and time you need it in. Some of us will travel and stay a little longer just to experience the space, and that's where your travel agent will come in at to make sure that you're curating your trip in the best way. So I mean, this is awesome. This is awesome. So how do we reach out to you? Like, what are some of the, how do people come to LaShawn? I mean, it's one of the things that you said you want to make sure that there's access to individuals who wouldn't traditionally have access to premium travel or to travel at all based on their circumstances or based on them feeling like they don't have the ability to be able to invest in this essential cost to get what they need. So tell me a little bit about that.
So you can reach me at my website. We have a website, roundtree.biz.
Okay.
We're also on YouTube, which is at We Traveling. And on Facebook is we.traveling.llc.
Okay.
So many avenues to reach me. You can, reach out to me, ask any questions. I'd love, just to help people with their, I love to see people happy and having a good time. So yeah, reach out to me for any questions that you have. I can, like I said, book just about any type of trip that you'd like to have. Working on a trip now to Kilimanjaro. So that is, I'm not going on the trip, but I am so excited about the trip. It is, yeah. So I'd love to I love what I do because I just like to see people happy and enjoy themselves. So
nice. I think you found your secret sauce because you've been smiling from ear to ear about travel since we got on the TV show today. So tell me, so we talked about some of the opportunities. We've talked about some of the best practices. Well, let's go. I have another question about best practices because this is always asked of me. What are some of the groups that you are able to assist? What are some of your best trips? Kilimanjaro is coming up, but what are some of the others that you've done that you felt so satisfied? I mean, every single trip is a good trip because you're booking for LaShawn. So let's be clear about that, right?
Yeah, that's right. There's no bad trips with me.
So let's just put that there. But tell me about some of the ones that you're like, whoa, for me, it's going to be that trip to Canary Island, right? I haven't made it there yet, but I've heard it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I love experiencing that. So what would that be in your space?
So I am certified as a adventure travel and group travel.
Okay.
So I have quite a few trips that's coming up now that I am just excited to have my clients to be a part of. But I do want to talk about a trip that my husband and I just came from.
Okay.
We just came from St. Croix, one of your places.
All right.
And
nice.
Yeah. It was a wellness center that we went to. And you may be familiar with it, Prospect Hill Wellness Center.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
Now, this was such a special trip to me because people travel to St. Thomas and they're in St. John, but people forget about St. Croix. And it was actually my first time there.
Oh, really?
So it was my first time there. I just didn't think about St. Croix.
Okay.
But it is absolutely beautiful. I would encourage everyone to go there to relax. That is definitely on my list. And I have friends who have cancer. So I have one friend that I am anxious to tell her about this facility because it would be a wonderful place for her to go to recover.
Nice.
And get well again. But just the scenery alone and the people and the food and it's amazing. It is really amazing. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with her. And as well as I booked her. She just recently actually came back from a cruise, the same friend of mine who has cancer. And I had to curate that cruise for her because she's in a wheelchair. Now, that's something that people, you don't think about her. She went on a cruise a couple of months ago, but she did not use a travel agent. And she was not aware that she could get an accessible room, that she could have a wheelchair delivered to her, that she could request to sit at certain areas on the ship in the dining room. These are the things that your travel agent can do for you. It's the details, small details. And those small details made that cruise so much better for her. She said it was the best cruise she's been on ever. And it's the same cruise line, but now she used a travel agent to take care of the details for things that she didn't know, like, getting her medicine on the ship properly without, filling out the correct paperwork, I should say, to get her medications on the ship. Things like that is what a travel agent can do for you. But there's so many trips that we are working on now, and I do have a trip to Anguilla that we're booking now. And Anguilla is a beautiful place. There's so many places that I love to travel. It's hard to pick just one.
Right. And I understand it because I'm a traveler. I love travel. I remember going to Dominica and like having the Sulphur Springs and having the black beaches, the black sand beaches I never heard of. And I got there, and when you stand there, when you were on the beach, the ground was still warm, and they were saying it was because we were so close to the volcanoes. I was like, whoa, I don't know if I want to get in there. And the water was warm. I mean, I would never think to go to those places, and went there, and it was amazing. Going to Honduras, right? Yeah. And then not just being in the resort side of Honduras, but actually the devil's in the details, right? Having a travel agent book us with a driver and someone to be our guide so that we can really experience the space that we're in. The devil's in those details, because you think I'm going to go to a place and show up and say I need a cab, and you're like, no, that's not really
right.
Right. Same thing with Egypt. When we went to Egypt, we had to have both a driver and a guide. They would not let us leave the airport without it. And had we not used a travel agent, we wouldn't have known that this is what we needed. And we'd have wasted a whole bunch of time trying to get to the spaces that we need to get to. The best part of Egypt to me was being able to eat in a restaurant that was on the water, the Nile, and on the ground, on the floor with your hands. And I was like, I'm not eating with my hand. It was amazing. My food was amazing. The experience was amazing.
Yeah, that's right.
So being able to experience those different things.
Exactly. We one of the trips we took with the kids was to Tokyo.
Nice.
Yeah, we were able to travel to 2 or 3 different locations in Japan, and it was seamless. We wanted to try different forms of accommodation. So luxury hotel was part of the trip.
That's right.
And then we stayed at an Airbnb as part of the trip.
Wow.
We tried different. We wanted to try the capsule hotel, but everybody wasn't on board. I was going to try it, but everybody wasn't on board for it.
They're like, no.
Yeah.
There's limitations here. There's some limitations here.
Exactly, limitations. But you're getting an opportunity to travel all over the world. It's just amazing to see how people live, and just like I said, just to open your eyes and just see how the world is just different. It's
right.
Different,
and and it's different through the eyes, like we said, the eye of the beholder, right? What kind of experience are you looking for? Not everyone is looking for a luxury hotel. Some people enjoy backpacking. Some people enjoy an Airbnb experience, right? So it's really what your client wants, and then paying attention to those details, because like I said, going to different places in the world sometimes require you to have different modes of transportation when you get there. And if you're just basically saying, I'm going to book a flight and go to so-and-so, and then you get there and you have to spend, half a day in customs or whatever that is that you have to go through to get out, the travel agent could have took care of that for you.
Yeah.
Literally spending that time taking in the space that you're in. So I think it's really important to have a travel agent on hand, just like, just like you have a banker and just like you have a real estate broker, you should also have your travel agent, right?
Yeah,
So
really should.
when you're ready to travel and to experience the world in these different spaces, you can, and you can travel more often because you'll be able to save time and energy. I believe in a weekend trip. I believe in a plane on a 4-day weekend and going someplace amazing and coming back and saying, all right, I did that, right? So those are really good. I think one of the best practices that I also got from this experience, LaShawn, was you telling us about taking advantage of your local space.
Yes.
I don't think we hear that enough. I don't think we think about it enough, right? To really be a tourist in your own city, right?
Exactly.
Is amazing for you to encourage that. So at some point, in the near future, I'm going to do that because I keep saying I'm going to go to Times Square and book a hotel and stay overnight and just enjoy the space because people come to New York all the time.
Exactly.
They experience New York, and I'm busy going in the other direction because New York is life. But there's so much in these 62 counties outside of work, and so it's it's time for me to enjoy some play in this space too.
Yeah.
The difference is now I have a 5-year-old, so the 5-year-old needs special accommodations for traveling in these spaces. The other thing the travel agent is able to help you with when you're traveling with family is they can recommend services for you. For instance, when I go to Puerto Rico for my conference, I have a nanny service because it's connected to the hotel. And so, and it's already vetted and verified. And so when I'm there and I'm doing my trainings and my workshops, my baby is off in the pool and enjoying life and, hailing down ice cream trucks. Who knew there was an ice cream truck in Puerto Rico? Well, he found
That's right.
He found an ice cream truck in Puerto Rico, when he was hanging out. So these are great experience for us to think about, and more importantly, for us to enjoy because we only get one life, right?
Yeah.
And so a part of that is making sure that you're able to spend time doing the things that you love to do. The other thing that I think is very important in this conversation is when you said that even though your friend was diagnosed with cancer and we're speaking healing into her life, she's still traveling.
Oh, yes. And
she's traveling, and it's important. It's important to continue to enjoy life and continue to go to spaces and experience things and to be happy and to eat clean and do all of those wonderful things, even if you're diagnosed with something, because your body will heal itself, So that's really important too. So thank you so much for sharing that nugget. Diagnosis, then I have to stay home. Oh no, call a shot. She got you covered.
And I learned so much from my clients because that client that has cancer, it was because of her that I learned that the challenges that she has when she travels. I'm not in her shoes, so I had no idea. But because of talking to her, like I said, getting to know what happens when you travel and how do you get to do this, and when you go off the ship, what happens, those things. That's why I talk to my clients to see what it is that they need personally, because how your cousin travels will not be the same for you.
That's right.
So that's important for me to get to know each one and every one of my clients.
And that's absolutely important. So, for all of you that are listening, I think it's important for you to understand that, the first thing that LaShawn said when she came on was that travel is essential. Yeah. Understanding that travel is an essential part of what we do. And we know it on a local basis because we know we travel to go to work. We travel to play. We travel, when our children are going to a game or, having a play date. Those are all travel experiences. But when you're looking to have a travel experience away from that space, then you book LaShawn.
That's right. That's what I'm here for.
So that she's able to make sure that you're showing up in that space without stress and you're enjoying it so that you do come back. Because that's the other thing you said, one of the best practices is making sure you have a repeat customer, right? Yeah. So making sure that whatever that essential travel is, that they're having a great experience and they're able to share it, because word of mouth is still, key, right? Sharing that experience and then coming back for the next time that they're looking to have that essential travel be a part of their lives. So I want to thank you so much for that. And so I know, silly how time flies when we're having fun, but we only have a few more minutes. But I want to end with some solutions, right? Because I always like to end with, I talk about various best practices and then big ideas. So I want to end with some of those big ideas, some of the solutions to make sure that we are understanding that travel is essential, right? That we know that it's important to have a travel agent when we want to save time and money, believe it or not, say both by utilizing a travel agent. But what are some of those big ideas for the population that you're looking to reach? Because you said that most Black, brown, and people don't really realize how they can still have this premium travel experience. They think that it's out of reach, and it's not. So what are some of the big ideas and some of the solutions to make sure that you're reaching those individuals that to help them understand that they can have this essential travel? And more importantly, how are you doing it?
So, the first thing that I always want to say is just don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid. Travel is sometimes out of our comfort zone. We're used to being in our city or in our house, and you sit back and you watch those YouTube videos and say, oh, I wish I could. Well, you can do those things. Yeah. Don't be afraid to try it. And if that means starting, baby steps, start with go to a hotel in your area. Go to a nice hotel. Just treat yourself for one night. Treat yourself, and then baby steps.
Right.
Try the next county over or something like that. But don't be afraid. Try it. And for me, I just like I said, I stay in touch with my clients, and through our website, I try to answer all the emails and questions that come through, and I make myself available. So any questions that people have and they're just not sure how to do it, I do have a trip that I'm going on just because they want me to go with them. And I don't, every now and then I will do that, just to kind of hold your hand and say, it's all right. Come on, we can do this.
Awesome.
So I think that's the biggest thing, is just encourage people not to be afraid. Just go for it. Life is short. Enjoy it while you can, and at least for now.
Right. I think it's essential. I'm thanking you so much for sharing this with us today, because I think it's important. Me, for one, I love to travel, but knowing that I can actually tag in someone that can make sure that I have the travel experience that I'd like to have in the space that I'm traveling in is always very important. And I think that one of the things that we've done today is kind of really highlight to anyone, whether they're having a staycation, whether they're on a business pleasure trip, whether they're, they're traveling with a disability, traveling with a child, that if you tag in your travel agent and you help them to understand what you want your experience to look like, then you can have a super amazing travel experience no matter where you go.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's really important. So one of the big ideas is not to be afraid. And also to understand that you can have that premium experience, however which way that shows up to you, by simply tagging in your travel agent. So I want to thank you so much for being a part of the Coaxum Report. I'm so glad you enjoyed St. Croix.
Thank you. It was great.
I'm glad you enjoyed St. Croix. I think it's really important for us to remind folks that, yes, we have St. John and we have St. Thomas, but we also have St. Croix. So the Virgin Island is always nice.
Nice. That's right.
And I thank you for being a part of the Coaxum Report. I hope you continue to have a super amazing day on purpose. And I look forward to a travel experience with you sometime in the near future. Take care. Be blessed. Thanks for being a part of the Coaxum Report. Later.
Bye-bye.